name's Liz, I'm the baker that sews. Welcome to my channel if you're new and welcome back if you're a subscriber. As always, it's really lovely to have you here as I share my sewing journey. So welcome back to my channel. Today is an episode of my Sunday sewing catch up and we're on episode 49. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to film a video for today because we are going on holiday in a couple of hours, but I have managed to do all my packing and we're completely ready to go. So I thought I had a little bit of time to film a Sunday sewing catch up. I think it's going to be shorter than usual because a lot of things that I've been sewing this week I've already packed, so I can't actually show you them. And I was up till quite late last night. I don't think I went to bed until about 1 in the morning because I was finishing off sewing some swimwear for myself and Ruby and Lola. So I haven't got photos of a lot of the things that I've been sewing up, but I've got the fabric and I've got the patterns so I can talk about the various things that I have been sewing this week. So before we start with that, I'll let you know what I'm wearing, and I'm wearing a really old make. I made this, I think I must have made this about 4 years ago. The pattern is the Zadie jumpsuit in this really gorgeous, I can't remember what this cotton lawn was called, but it was like everywhere. But yeah, I absolutely love the bright colours. I love the navy background, and the Zadie jumpsuit is the perfect garment to wear when you're travelling. I love that it's got pockets, it's loose around my tummy. Yeah, it's just really, really comfortable to wear. I'll stand up so you can see what it looks like. But I love this fabric. I just think it's really, really fun. It's got pockets, it's got grown on sleeve, and then it's a crossover jumpsuit and it just ties here. And then the neckline's finished with binding. It is very, very roomy. You can see it's really roomy here, which is perfect for travelling. And then in terms of the length, it stops, it's going to be tricky to show you, but it stops just above my ankle there. Haven't got any shoes on at the moment. That's what I'm wearing. I can put in an old picture of me wearing it so you can see what it looks like. I haven't got an up-to-date photo of what it looks like. So what have I been busy sewing this week? I have been sewing quite a lot of things this week, all to do with going on holiday. So I started the week, I've got 2 notebooks, a notebook here, which is all my notes for this video, but then I've got another notebook here, which is a very extensive wish list of things that I wanted to sew up this week, and I gave myself quite a lot of things to do. I always set myself a lot of things to do. And I always feel really guilty if I don't actually get those things done, which is really silly because it's something that I've set for myself. But a lot of it was not for myself. I wanted to sew for Ruby and Lola, and I also wanted to sew for my husband. So I used a pattern that I've used before. I used it last year and it's a McCall's pattern. I've just got it here. So it's the McCall's M6044. It's a really straightforward shirt if you sew up view A. I didn't put, there's a pocket, I don't know if you can see, but I didn't put the pocket on. View A I really love because there's no yoke, it's short sleeves and it sews up fairly quickly for a shirt pattern, you know, a couple of hours to sew it up. So I had a couple of pieces of fabric in my stash that I knew I was going to turn into a shirt for him. The first one, I don't actually have a scrap of it because I've used absolutely all of it. I used some of it to sew up a dress for myself, and then I used the rest of it to sew up a shirt for my husband. So it's a cotton poplin from Sew Me Sunshine, and it's got boats on it. I think it's called Boating Away. They've just got some in stock. I'll put a picture in of what the fabric looks like so you can see what it looks like, and I'll link it down below as well. But that's the first one, so it's in a really light cotton poplin. And then I used the pattern again to sew up 3 more shirts. The second one, I got this, I can't remember what type of fabric it is. I think it's like a satin fabric. But I got this fabric from Rainbow Fabrics. It's bright pink and it's got tigers all over it. And as soon as it arrived, my husband requested a shirt out of it. This fabric was an absolute nightmare to sew with. It frayed, like you can see at the top. It frayed. When I tried to finish the edges, I ended up having to do French seams because the fabric was just an absolute nightmare. Can you see it there? It was an absolute nightmare to press. It was a nightmare to cut out. It was a nightmare to sew. So I had a bit of a headache sewing this one up, but it's finished. It's really funny because in sort of everyday life, he'll tends to wear sort of navy. That's like his favourite colour. And he tends to wear quite dark colours. But when we go away, he's like all the bright colours, and all the shirts that I've sewn up apart from one are quite bright and quite colourful. So I was really pleased that I could turn that You can see I've only got a tiny bit left where I've cut it out. If they've got any of this left on the Rainbow Fabrics website, I'll link it down below, but be warned, it was an absolute pain to sew with. And then I had this lovely viscose, which I'd bought for myself, but actually when it arrived, my husband again requested a shirt. He really loved the look of this viscose. And I've actually got quite a lot of dresses, as you know, so I thought I might as well turn it into a shirt for him. This was from Stitch and Ink, and they had two different colourways of this design, the blue one, and then I think they had like a pink and purple one. I absolutely love that. I think it's reminiscent of the Northern Lights. I think it's such a beautiful fabric. And again, this is a really lightweight viscose. It's almost got sort of a feel of a cotton lawn to it. So it's perfect for sewing up a shirt, and it drapes and moves beautifully. It's going to make, well, it has made a really lovely lightweight shirt for him. And then the final fabric that I used for a shirt for him, have I got it here? I thought, oh yes, here. Is this really cute cotton poplin, which has got, it's like neon yellow, and then it's got lollipops, which are pink and heart-shaped all over it. I actually turned it into a pair of shorts for myself as well, which I'll talk about the pattern for that in a second. I cannot recommend this pattern enough. If you just want a really straightforward, really simple shirt that you can throw on, it's been perfect for taking away on holiday. I made a couple of shirts last year and he absolutely loved wearing them. The shape is quite relaxed, it's quite a breezy pattern to wear as well, and it sews up really nicely. For a big 4 pattern, I tend to avoid them because of sizing issues and also because of the instructions. But I feel like I've got enough sewing experience under my belt now to start tackling some big 4 patterns. And this one was just a lucky find. I don't think anyone recommended it to me, but I've recommended it loads. So it's the McCall's M6044. So my husband's got 4 new shirts, which he's really pleased about. So then the next thing I wanted to sew up was some shorts for myself. I don't have very many pairs. I sewed up some Petra shorts a couple of years ago, but obviously your body changes, so they don't fit quite as well as they did when I first made them. So I wanted to have a go at sewing up some shorts, and I happened to be in John Lewis a couple of days, well, probably about a week ago now. I was in John Lewis, and I thought to have a look at their pattern selection. They've got a big catalogue which has got all the big 4 sort of patterns in, so you can look through and have a look at what they look like. And I came across the Simplicity pattern. So it's the Simplicity 1887. It's an easy to sew pattern, and you get loads of different options. So you can sew up the shorts, and they've got this really cute, I don't know if you can see, but they've got a really cute little tie detail. Don't know if you can see that. I'll show you on the shorts I made. There's a skirt, mini skirt, and then there's like a knee-length skirt, and then there's trousers, and then there's like trousers that have got elastic at the bottom as well. What I really liked about these was they were flat fronted, they had a really cute tie across the tummy, they had really roomy pockets, and they were elasticated in the back as well. And they just looked like the perfect pair of shorts. Like looking at them on the model, they look like the right length. I didn't want any shorts that were too long. And I probably could have used the pattern that I had in my stash that was a trouser pattern and just turned them into shorts, but I was drawn to this pattern, so I bought it. And then I've had to go at sewing myself up a couple of pairs of shorts. I've packed all of them apart from one, which I put in my hand luggage, and I used this amazing cotton poplin, and I got this from, oh, I can't remember where I got it from, but I'll link it down below if I can remember. I think I got it from Floral, I can never say the name of the shop, but that shop. If they've got any left, I'll link it down below. But I just thought this was a really fun cotton pop. So actually for this pair, I didn't have enough of the fabric to do the tie across the front. So the tie just goes across in front of the flat fronted waistband. And then there are the pockets, and then you've just got elastic in the back. But yeah, I didn't have enough because I used the rest of this fabric to sew up a shirt for my husband, so we can be matching. So I've got shorts, he's got a shirt. But I've tried them on, they fit me really nicely and they're really comfortable. The right amount of sort of roominess on my legs as well, which is perfect. And I love that they've got pockets. And then the other pairs that I've sewn up using gingham fabric that I got from Abercorn. And when I get back from holiday, I'll have photos of all of these so I can share them. and on Instagram I'll probably share sort of my outfits for the day and the evening as well. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, I'm at The Baker That Sews, and I'll be sharing a lot of my holiday wardrobe over on Instagram. But I'm really pleased with those shorts. Now, somebody messaged me because I shared this pattern on Instagram, and somebody messaged me to say, how did I find the fit? Because they'd sewn up the trousers and they were really baggy. I didn't sew up the trousers, obviously I just sewed up the shorts, and I found the fit really good for the shorts. I didn't have to adjust the rise or anything like that. They sit where I wanted them to on my waist, and the crotch felt really nice and comfortable as well. It wasn't too baggy. So I didn't have an issue with the fit of the shorts, but I haven't sewn up the trousers. And that takes me on to another pattern, which I didn't sew these up, but I did adjust the garment. So, where have I put them? I sewed up a pair of Megan Nielsen opal pants, and I did the paper bag waist with the tapered leg, and I sewed these up using my measurements. So I sewed up, I think I sewed up a 6, but I graded to a 2 for the hips. They were really straightforward, relaxed fit, high waist pant set with mix and match options. There's the option to do paper bag or standard elastic waistband, inseam pockets or patch pockets. I did inseam pockets. You can also do a belt, which is on here, and I did a belt, and I used a viscose fabric that I got from, I think I must have got it from Sew Me Sunshine. I vaguely remember getting it from there, and I sewed up the trousers, but when I tried them on, they looked awful. They were so baggy and roomy. It looked like I had a nappy on underneath. They looked so full around the tummy and the bottom and the crotch area that I really didn't like them. They sat in my like drawers for a couple of years, and for whatever reason I didn't get round to amending them, adjusting them or anything. They came up really, really long on me as well, actually. And I got them out the other day when I was working out what things I wanted to take on holiday. And when I got them out, I thought, now I'm just going to adjust them. So I tried them on again. They still look really baggy and just not a great fit. So I decided to chop them and make them into shorts, and I'm much happier with the way that they sit. I think because they're shorts, it doesn't matter that they're a little bit roomy, and they don't look quite as, I don't look like I'm swamped in them as much, I think, because they're shorts. So I'm really pleased that I didn't give them to charity, and I've actually chopped them off and turned them into shorts. And I know I'm going to get lots of wear out of them on holiday. So that wasn't a new make, but that was a make that I've had in my wardrobe for ages, never worn them, didn't really like them. But a couple of years later, I've turned them into shorts and I'm really pleased with them. So that was another pattern. But if I was to sew this one again, I would definitely need to do a little bit of adjusting around this area and the rise as well. But we'll see. I'm not sure if I will go back to that pattern. Then I had lots and lots of fun sewing up some swimwear. So I've sewn up some swimwear for myself and also for Ruby and Lola. And I used the Helen's Closet Sandpiper costume, which I think I've got here. Yes, I love this pattern. I think it's such a brilliant pattern. I love it because it comes in a range of sizes. I love it because the instructions are really straightforward. I'm just trying to find the line drawings to show you. Helen's Closet instructions are just amazing, and actually I sewed up the Tilly and the Buttons I was going to say Cottesloe, but that's a different one. The Tilly and the Buttons Coralie bikini, and then I also sewed up the swimsuit for myself. And I did find the instructions a little bit confusing, but I'll go on to talk about that in a second. But yeah, I used this pattern, which is the Sandpiper pattern by Helen's Closet. Absolutely love it. I sewed it up for me and Ruby and Lola last year, and it fits brilliantly. Last year I had to tweak the fit slightly because they were smaller last year. They've grown, they've both had growth spurts and they're nearly as tall as I am. So I sewed up a 0 for Lola and just did a much larger seam allowance. And then for Ruby, I sewed up a 0, but didn't need to adjust the seam allowance, and it fits them both really nicely. I did a fit when I basted the lining to the outer fabric before I started doing the rest of like inserting elastic and bands, and they fit really nicely. I just had to make what seam allowance? I think it was probably 2.5 centimetre seam allowance for Lola, sewing up the smallest size, but it fits her really nicely and they're both really pleased. I cannot recommend this pattern enough. It sews up beautifully, and like I said, the instructions are just absolutely brilliant. It's a lined 2-piece set, and it's really size inclusive as well. I think it comes in sizes 0 to 34, So I would definitely recommend the Sandpiper if you were looking for a swimsuit or a two-piece as your first sort of foray into making swimwear. Highly recommend it. So Lola has got a two-piece in this amazing neon animal print. Isn't that fab? It's got great stretch and recovery. I just absolutely love that fabric. And then Ruby chose this really lovely bright and colourful rainbow hearts fabric, which again I think is just absolutely fantastic. And then I sewed up the Helen's Closet Sandpiper two-piece for myself, and I used this amazing blue shimmery activewear swimwear from Felicity Fabrics. They've still got some of this in stock. It looks like it's got glitter on. I don't know if you can see that in the light, but it's amazing. And then I also used this amazing bright swimwear fabric. I think I got this from Stitch and Ink. You can see there's only a little bit left of it, but I love how bright and colourful that is. So I've got my two-piece here actually. So there it is. That's the bottoms. You can see what they look like. And I've added the band onto the bottoms. And then this is the bikini top. I'm just checking it's not inside out. No, it is inside out. I sewed these up at like midnight last night for myself. I got everything else sewed in the day, but then I really wanted to finish sewing up mine, so I was up till midnight. And then that is mine, and again it's got the band on, so they're going to be great to wear when we go away. And then I did have a go at sewing up the Tilly and the Buttons Coralie. I think I got it here. Yes, I've got it here. So it's the Coralie swimsuit, and you can sew up a swimsuit, you can sew up a bikini. There's an option for a high back swimsuit or a low back swimsuit, an option to put a ruffle on or no ruffle, and then a high waist bikini or a low waist bikini, and again options for ruffles. So I've sewn up the low back swimsuit with the neckline ruffle, and I've also sewn up the bikini with the ruffle as well. Managed to sew it up absolutely fine. The bit that I got stuck on, or I found it a little bit confusing, but I think it probably was the fact it was midnight when I was sewing, was the way that you add the ruffle along the neckline. So I've got my swimsuit here. This is what it looks like in this amazing fabric from Semi Sunshine. How cool is that? Now, just to say, this fabric is a lot firmer and hasn't got quite as much stretch as the other fabric. You can see it's not quite got as much. It's got enough, but I would just say that is one thing. And I found actually sewing this up, this is a little bit snug. I think it'll be fine, and obviously when it gets wet it loosens up a little bit. It just about fits me. The bikini fits me perfectly because the fabric that I use for the bikini has got a lot more give in it than the fabric for this. The fabric for the bikini was the lemonade print fabric that I got from Fabric Godmother. I don't have it in front of me. Oh, actually I could grab it. This was the fabric that I chose to use for the bikini, which I think is really, really fun. So I've got the pants, and then I've got the bikini top, and then I've just got some lining, some beige lining that I got from Like So Amazing because they had swimwear lining. And then yeah, that is the bikini top as well with the ruffle, and the ruffle goes all the way down the back. I found it confusing putting the binding on, and I found it confusing putting the ruffle on as well. But like I said, I think that could have been the fact that I was sewing it quite late last night. But if anyone else has sewn up the Coralie and they chose to add a ruffle and you found it a little bit of a head scratcher, I'd love to know your thoughts on the pattern. Then the other thing that I've sewn up, so I have been sewing a lot of things, and I did set myself a huge task of sewing all of these things, but I have really enjoyed sewing not just for myself but also for my children. I talked about sewing up the vest tops. So I've sewn up one in this rib knit colourway from New CraftHouse, and then I also sewed it up in the coral pink as well. So they're for Ruby and Lola. And the pattern I used for that was the Zoe tank top and dress by True Bias. So I used this version, and I just sewed the smallest size for Ruby and Lola. And that comes in 0 to 18 for the pattern that I've got, but I know they've got the curve range. Let me just roll that back up and pop it. The suitcase is literally here. Pop it back in the suitcase. And then the other thing that I sewed up, it's become a bit of a tradition that I've set for myself, Oh, I've sewn up two other things actually. The first one is a bit of a tradition that I've set for myself, that when I go away I sew myself a new Dear and Do Myosotis, and I use this absolutely gorgeous fabric that I got from Felicity Fabrics. So beautiful and lightweight, and it's just going to be perfect to wear when we go away. So if I hold it up, so I've done the longer skirt and it's got the ruffle on the bottom, no pockets because I didn't have enough of the fabric, and short sleeves. I did have enough to add the ruffle, but I thought the ruffle might be too much because we're going somewhere really hot, so I thought the ruffle might just feel a little bit too much. It's got the mandarin collar, and then the buttons I went for were these beautiful green buttons. I just think they go perfectly with that fabric. So I've got a new dress to wear when we go away. And then the other thing that I've sewn up was a garment that I sewed up just under a week ago, it must be, and I was really hoping to get this sewn up in time to enter the Sew Mashup challenge that was being hosted by Kath and Sally over on Instagram. I didn't get it sewn up in time, but I have got it sewn up in time to take on holiday. So I used the Helen's Closet Reynolds top and dress pattern for the top part of the dress, and then I used the True Bias Mauve skirt to add on some tiers to the skirt. I also had some broderie anglais trim that I got from CraftHouse that I sandwiched between the tiers, and then I had some red rickrack. I think I talked about this last weekend in my Sunday sewing catch-up, but I had some red rickrack that I wanted to put across the bodice and across the edge of the skirt on the bottom, and I did manage to do that. I did get some very rushed photos of me wearing that, so I will put them in so you can see what that looks like. But yeah, that is everything that I've sewn up this week. I've immersed myself in my sewing space for a couple of days to get lots and lots of things sewn up. But then I also was up till 1 o'clock last night sewing, getting those last little things sewn up. But yeah, I'm really pleased. I'm pleased that I've managed to sew things that are going to add to our holiday wardrobe, and I'm pleased that I've sewn things not just for me, but also for Ruby Lola and my husband James. So I'm really excited about seeing them wear those things when we go away. So the next thing I wanted to share with you was a couple of pieces of fabric that I've been buying. So I've got this gorgeous cotton jersey, which is described as pastel leopard print. And I got this from Stitch and Ink, and I've got 3 meters of this fabric. I think I'm going to turn it into the Zoe tank and dress top. I think I'm going to turn it into the dress. I think this will work so nicely as the dress. And I think it'll drape. And if I've got any left, Ruby's got her eye on it because she absolutely loves that pastel leopard print. It's a really lightweight cotton jersey. It feels really lovely and soft. It's got a little bit of drape, which is great. So hopefully I'll get that lovely drape at the bottom of the Zoe dress. So that was from Stitch and Ink. If they've got any left, I'll link it down below. I know that was really popular. And then I've got a couple of pieces of fabric from Sew Me Sunshine, and you've probably seen these all over Instagram because I know lots of different fabric shops have got them in now. But they're both seersuckers. This one I couldn't resist. Look how amazing that is. It's so lovely and bright and colourful, like this rainbow checkerboard effect. This is going to become a top of some sort. Not sure what top yet. I know when I said last time about top patterns, I got loads of recommendations. I think it needs to be quite a straightforward top that really showcases that print. So maybe something that doesn't have anything on the front or the back. So I need to have a little think about that. I don't want to cut into it too much. I want to keep it as whole as possible. So any suggestions, let me know. I only got 1 meter of both of these. And then the other one, I just thought it was really pretty. It's got flowers all over it, and it's sort of a peachy colour. And I just really love those flowers. It reminds me of nectarines for some reason. I don't know if it's that beautiful colour with the red in the middle, but I only got 1 meter of that as well. Both from Sew Me Sunshine, both destined to become tops, but I haven't decided on the pattern yet. And then I've got a couple of pieces of fabric from Rainbow Fabrics. So I've got this beautiful pink fabric that's got dots all over it. This is a viscose, I think. It feels really lovely and drapey. And I released a video on Wednesday talking about patterns in my stash that I haven't got around to sewing up yet. And I'm going to use some of this fabric to do a toile for the Dear and Do Magnolia dress. I'll do this obviously when I get back. But I'm going to sew up the bodice part because I think that's going to be the bit that I need to work on the fit. And I've got a leopard print viscose fabric that I really want to use for my actual Magnolia dress. and this is a similar weight to that fabric. So I'm going to use this fabric to sew up the bodice as a toile and perfect the fit. And you know, it may turn out to be a wearable toile, which I absolutely love this fabric, so it'd be great if it was a wearable toile. And then I've got a cotton fabric, which is in this beautiful green colourway with these amazing flowers all over it. I've no idea what I'm going to turn it into. I feel like it needs to be like a circle skirt or something, and I've got quite a lot of this fabric. Those flowers are giant, and I just want something that's going to really showcase those beautiful flowers. But I loved that colour. I just thought it was absolutely stunning. So those are all of the fabrics that I had to share with you today. I'm now not buying any more fabrics for a while because I've got so many in my stash. I've seen so many beautiful fabrics over on Instagram, and I think it could be quite dangerous following all the shops on Instagram as well, but I am resisting. I definitely do not need any more fabric. I've got loads, and even though I used my fabric stash as inspiration for my Make 9, I've still got loads and loads of fabric that I need to try and get turned into things. But I've been really enjoying sewing for other people, so I might get Ruby and Lola to go through my stash and choose some pieces to turn into things for them as well. So the final thing I always like to finish with is a couple of sewing plans that I've got for when I get back from my holiday. So I have cut out a few projects before I go. I've got a couple of flat fronted skirts, which is a free tutorial by Alice Irvine. I'll link it down below. So I've got a couple of pieces of cotton poplin that I think will be perfect for the flat fronted skirt. The first one is a Mexican Frida Kahlo inspired cotton poplin. So I've cut that out into the flat fronted skirt ready to be sewn up. And then I also had this really fun cotton poplin that's got people all over it that I've had for ages, that I got from Studio Jepson. You can see I've only got a tiny bit left, and I've cut that out into a flat fronted skirt as well. For both of these fabrics, I wanted a pattern that wasn't going to distort the image, so I think the flat fronted skirt is absolutely perfect. And then I've also cut out, can I find it here? Yes. That beautiful fabric from new CraftHouse, that beautiful green cloche fabric, I think it's called. And I've cut that out as the True Bias, True Bias Maid skirt. So that's ready for me to start sewing up when I get back as well. So that was everything I wanted to share with you today. I know it's a little bit of a shorter video. Thank you as always for coming back and watching my videos. I really do appreciate your support. I'm going to have a break now because I'm going away for 2 weeks, so it'll either be a 2 or a 3 week break. I don't have any videos coming out between now and when I'm back because I want to completely switch off. But if you do want a little sneak peek into my holiday wardrobe, follow me on Instagram because I'll be sharing lots of pictures of myself, my husband and Ruby and Lola wearing the clothes that I've made for them. If you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, it'd be really great if you could hit that subscribe button. You get notified when I bring out my next video. Thank you as always for watching. Take care, and I'll be back in a couple of weeks. Bye.